In a recent development, U.S. President Donald Trump has paused the newly imposed tariffs on Mexico for 1 month after the country agreed to deploy 10,000 National Guards troops to curb fentanyl trafficking. The agreement also includes a U.S. commitment to prevent high-powered weapons from reaching Mexico, as confirmed by Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum. Meanwhile, the tariffs of 25% on most Canadian imports and 10% on Chinese goods will take effect as planned on February 4th, fueling concerns over a potential global trade war.
Look, Mexico and Canada have never been good to us on trade. The tariffs don't cause inflation, they cause success.
United States President Donald Trump on February 1st ordered sweeping tariffs on goods from Mexico, Canada, and China, demanding they stanch the flow of fentanyl and illegal immigrants in the case of Canada and Mexico into the United States, kicking off a trade war that could dent global growth and reignite inflation. In 3 executive orders, Trump imposed 25% tariffs on Mexican and most Canadian imports and 10% on goods from China, starting on February 4th. He vowed to keep the duties in place until what he described as a national emergency over fentanyl, a deadly opioid, and illegal immigration to the U.S. ends. Mexico and Canada, the top 2 U.S. trading partners, immediately vowed retaliatory tariffs, while China said it would challenge Trump's move at the World Trade Organization and take other countermeasures. Meanwhile, Donald Trump's key quotes about tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China are making rounds on the internet as the trade war begins.
We're thinking in terms of 25% on Mexico and Canada because they're allowing vast numbers of people. Canada's a very bad abuser also. Vast numbers of people to come in and fentanyl to come in.
When do you think you would enact those?
I think February 1st.
Are you planning on keeping notice of that?
I think we'll do it February 1st.
25% on both, sir.
On each. We're thinking about that too. We're talking about a tariff of 10% on China based on the fact that they're sending fentanyl to Mexico and Canada. One thing we're going to be demanding is we're going to be demanding respect from other nations. Canada, we have a tremendous deficit with Canada. We're not going to have that anymore. We can't do it. I don't know if it's good for them. As you probably know, I say you can always become a state. And if you're a state, we won't have a deficit. We won't have to tariff you, et cetera, et cetera. But Canada has been very tough to deal with over the years. And it's not fair that we should have a $200 billion or $250 billion deficit. We don't need them to make our cars, and they make a lot of them. We don't need their lumber because we have our own forests, et cetera, et cetera. We don't need their oil and gas. We have more than anybody. We'll be announcing the tariffs on Canada and Mexico for a number of reasons. Number one is the people that have poured into our country so horribly and so much. Number two are the drugs, fentanyl, and everything else that have come into the country. And number three are the massive subsidies that we're giving to Canada and to Mexico in the form of deficits. And I'll be putting the tariff of 25% on Canada and separately 25% on Mexico. And we will really have to do that because we have very big deficits with those countries. Those tariffs may or may not rise with time.
Will oil be part of that, though? Because we get oil from Canada.
Oil is going to have nothing to do with it as far as I'm concerned. Oil has nothing to do with it. Look, Mexico and Canada have never been good to us on trade. They've treated us very unfairly on trade. And we will be able to make that up very quickly because we don't need the products that they have. We have all the oil you need. We have all the trees you need, meaning the lumber. We have more than almost anybody in those 2 categories. In oil, we have more than anybody, and we don't need anybody's trees. We have to free up some of the tree areas that we have. We have great lumber in this country. We have to free them up environmentally, which I can do very quickly. But we don't need what they have. And for us to be subsidizing Canada to the tune of $175 billion a year and subsidizing Mexico to the tune of $250 billion, $300 billion a year. And Mexico is a method of China sending in its product. And with China, I'm also thinking about something because they're sending fentanyl into our country. And because of that, they're causing us hundreds of thousands of deaths. So China is going to end up paying a tariff also for that. And we're in the process of doing that. Tariffs don't cause inflation, they cause success. cause big success. So we're going to have great success. There could be some temporary short-term disruption, and people will understand that. I had that when I negotiated some of the good deals for the farmers, and unfortunately those deals have been led astray by Biden and his people because they didn't enforce the deal. But the tariffs are going to make us very rich and very strong, and we're going to treat other countries very fairly. But if you think about it, other countries charge us tariffs. We don't charge them tariffs, and it's about time that changed.